Jnanamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadasi 11th chapter on Vidyaranya talks about on the deep sleep state, and here classifying the three types of knowledge or three types of happiness one can think of. One is Brahmananda, and another is Vijnana Janya Ananda, and the third one is Vishaya Janya Ananda or Vishayananda. So three types. Then he will change into Vasanananda also. He will be talking about Vishayananda, same as Vasanananda, that we will discuss later. So Brahmananda is what one experiences in the deep sleep state, because there is no subject-object duality. The mind is as folded as a Vijnanamaya kosha. It absorbed already previous koshas. The Annamaya got absorbed into Pranamaya, Pranamaya into Manomaya, Manomaya into Vijnanamaya, that is intellectual buddhi, intellectual sheath, and that itself is getting now folded, where it has withdrawn subject-object duality. So the absence of subject duality will be starting of the deep sleep state. So there is no subject-object duality in the deep sleep there. Before that, if you have a dream state, there is subject-object duality, and in the waking state also there is subject-object duality. So as you enter into the deep sleep state, everything is getting folded, so there is no more distinction of subject-object, and the starting of that, where the absence of subject-object duality is a starting of the deep sleep state. When it occurs, we cannot say when, is a concept of time, and the time itself is absorbed along with the subject-object duality. So when the mind is awake only, concept of time comes into picture. When the mind is awake only, concept of space comes into picture. When it's in the deep sleep state, when there is no subject-object distinctions, it is one prajnana ghanam. So it is homogeneous, the consciousness and conscious of the subject-object absence, or the lack of subject-object duality is no Dvaita. Dvaita comes with the subject-object duality. So no Dvaita in the deep sleep state, and therefore there is no suffering and pure consciousness which is all pervading, and the mind which is folded is called Anandamaya kosha, and consciousness gets reflected in that, because it's a subtle body has a capacity to reflect, and therefore it is still, life is still there in the form of, in the subtle body which is folded. Only those expressions by the mind that are continued to go on, that means breathing will go on, the digestive system, all physiological functions will go on, but I am not aware of that, and that is being taken over as though by the Lord, and that's why Lord says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Asritaha. So I am Vaishvanara, and I am in all beings as a prana, as in the body, taking care of the physiological functions. Thank God he does that, not us. Otherwise we will make a mess of it. So particular enzyme has to go particular depending upon the equipments that are generating those enzymes. As the body ages, the equipments may not be able to produce, and whatever they produce, that's what the Lord provides, that is the life. So in the subtle nature of in the subtle mind, the operation of the body will go on. So in the science also we say the major brain is quiet, and what is done by the medulla oblongata or whatever, that the state which controls the physiological functions. That's only from the gross point. What controls is, even medulla oblongata is there even in the dead body also. What controls is the life that enlivens it, and that's what is called Vaishvanara. But anyway, here it says in the deep sleep state, constant absence of subject-object duality itself is the lack of suffering, and that itself is the happiness. Pure happiness gets reflected since there is no agitations. So happiness is my own nature. That's called Brahmananda. My own nature means I am pure consciousness getting reflected in the pool of quiet mind. When the pond is quiet, then pure reflection you can see, and as it is. But when the pond is agitated, then the reflection also gets agitated, and that's what is called suffering. That happens when the mind and in the waking state and the dream state, where the duality comes in. We'll go back into what self-realization means. Here, experience is of the Brahmananda, not the knowledge of Brahmananda. Experience of Brahmananda is going on in the deep sleep state, and this is the clear understanding that same Brahmananda manifests when you are awake, but in an agitated state, and that's what essentially the teaching was. Now the student asks, now I know Brahmananda. So I know when I am going to deep sleep state, I am experiencing, and I have a knowledge of the absence of subject duality, and I was there, therefore I know, I have experienced Brahmananda. Therefore now I have, from your teaching as a teacher, and I am a student, now I am learning from you that is Brahmananda. Now the education should be over. Now how come I still don't feel that I am Brahmananda or Aham Brahmasmi? So that was the statement by the student. So essentially, when the student asks that question, the teacher says that one fellow gives a story form. So one fellow saw announcement by a king that whoever knows Chaturvedas will be provided a award for those who know Chaturvedas. So one fellow went to the king and he says, I know Chaturvedas. Okay, tell me. So they said there are 4 Vedas. That's what Chaturveda means, 4 Vedas. That I know. So what are the contents? That I don't know. I know that it is 4 Vedas, plus give me the award. So knowing the name Sankhya is not sufficient knowledge of knowing what exactly it is. So just like you say, that is Brahmananda, now I know. Now how come I don't feel that I am Brahmananda? So the question is like that. So essentially, the teacher essentially tells you knowing words doesn't mean that knowing the contents. And that's essentially what in the 81 sloka, see Sankhya me Vaisha janati nadu Veda naseshadaha. I do not know, even I know little bit of 4 Vedas, that's not sufficient for me to be honored, because many people know a lot of things. What the king wants is complete knowledge of the 4 Vedas, contents, and from A to Z. And that's knowing Sankhya me Vaisham janati. I know there are 4 Vedas. Not the Veda and Aseshata. I don't know the Vedas completely. Aseshata means fully I do not know the Vedas, all the 4 Vedas. Yadi tarhi. If you say that, then Tomapyeham Nasesham Brahma Vetihi. So that Tvam Brahma Asesham Nahi Vetsi. You do not know Brahman. Just as one fellow said, I don't know 4 Vedas, but I know part of it. That is not sufficient. I should know fully to receive the award. Same way, I should know fully that the Brahman alone is Satyam, Jagan Mithya, and Jivo Brahmaivana. All 3 components are required, and then only you will have a firm abidance in the knowledge. So Here is called na asesham brahma vetsihi. You do not know the Brahman without any Brahman completely. That's what he says. So one more student will ask, why should I know Brahman completely? 82. Akhandaikarasanande Akhandaikarasanande Maya tatkarya varjite Maya tatkarya varjite Aseshatva saseshatvam Aseshatva saseshatvam Vartavasara evakaha Vartavasara evakaha. Together. Akhandaikarasanande Maya tatkarya varjite Aseshatva saseshatva Vartavasara evakaha. So you say, I don't know completely. I know enough. What is completely? If I know, because this is the Brahmananda or Brahman is undifferentiated. There is no parts in that. So how can I know part of Brahman and not part of Brahman? If I know that Brahman, then I know completely. It's like, so if there is the rope and a snake. So now I know, yes, I can see the head, but everything else is a rope, but I am still staying there on the snake, but the rest of it I see as a rope. That's not possible. Either I see a rope or I see a snake. So if I think it is a snake and you say it is rope, now I know that it is rope, and that rope knowledge should completely eliminate my knowledge of that it's not partially doesn't remove, it's completely should remove. So there is no partial knowledge or partial recognition of that this is a rope or this is a snake. So complete knowledge has to occur, and therefore you cannot have that which is akhandam, that which is unbroken, undifferentiated, that rasananda is maya tatkarya varjite. So that has to be known. Even there cannot be any parts. So if I know it, it should be known. So if you say that, and aseshatva saseshatva vartavasara evakaha. So where is the need for partial knowledge and full knowledge when it is of the nature of akhandam, unbroken, undifferentiated, one homogeneous? You know it or you don't know it. You are a Brahman or you are not a Brahman. You say, I know Brahman, but I am still a Jiva. How can you have that dual knowledge? You cannot have. So the student raises a question that I understood Brahman. So a lot of people have the problem here. This is common experience. People understand Vedanta. They go attend and many years of study. Yes, I know Brahman. Brahman is true. But how come I am not experiencing the Brahman? How come I am not able to recognize that I am Brahman, even though I understood I am Brahman? The same true for Ananda also, just for explanation. So we all know that there is no happiness outside. There is neither happiness in the cup of coffee or happiness in the cup of this or that. Because if there is a happiness in that, the more everybody should get happiness from the coffee, and also the more coffee, more happiness. That's not true. First cup is okay, and second cup tolerable, third cup it becomes miserable, even though I went and I need a cup of coffee to be happy. So happiness is not in the object, but still I am going after. So logically, yes, I understand everything. I know happiness is not out there, happiness in that. That knowledge is not sufficient for me to stop drinking coffee, because I still go after happiness. Knowing very well that there is no happiness in that, I am still going after a cup of coffee of this or that or that. Rat race is still there, even with the knowledge that there is no happiness out there. I am doing. Why? I want to be happy. There is no happiness there, but still I want that. So that means that my understanding that happiness is not there has not been synced in. Even though I understood logically and by reading also I understood, but I have not really understood as a fact. That's what essentially is a jnanam and vijnanam. A differentiation between jnanam and vijnanam has been done, and Krishna talks about in the 7th chapter. It's called Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So What is jnanam and what is vijnanam? Jnanam is only an indirect knowledge, and vijnanam is the knowledge supported by the experience of myself. Is it really an experience? This is what one gets confused, because I know knowledge, now I am experiencing Brahman. You have to be careful here, and we will analyze that. Vidyarana is going to analyze it as we go along. So this is a common problem for everybody, where they think they know, at the same time they don't know. Why? Because how do they know that they don't know? Some people claim, I have realized. Good, very good. Then what happens? What happens is I am still having a problem, because I am suffering whenever I go into the world. That means I have not understood that Aham Brahmasmi, because the world is not really real. Then the Jagan Mithya has to be understood. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. So if I am getting affected by the world, that means my knowledge has not been synced in as a fact. It's only as a thought. So it's called a Paroksha Jnanam. Indirect knowledge is there. We need to make it a Aparoksha Jnanam. It's a direct and immediate knowledge. So that's what is going to be talked about in the next few slokas. So it says in the 83, Shabdaneva patasyahi Shabdaneva patasyaho Teshamartam cha pasyasi Teshamartam cha pasyasi Shabda pathertha bodhasti Shabda pathertha bodhasti Sampadyattvena sishyate Sampadyattvena sishyate. Together, Shabdaneva patasyaho Teshamartam cha pasyati Shabda patertha bodhasti Sampadyattvena sishyate. So here he is giving an example of knowing the word versus the word meaning. Kantastham, by hearting a Vedanta, even the Vedas and all that is different from understanding what Vedanta says. So the difference here is knowing the word. So Sabdam, words, Eva, Patasi. So he knows how to chant from A to Z. Oho. Tesham Arthancha, the meaning of those words also, Pasyasi, has to discover. Sabda party, if merely knows chanting, then Te, for you, Artha Bodha, the meaning of all the words, Sampadhyatena, attainment, Sishyati. It remains that you have to understand what the words means. I understand that is Brahman, where there is no disturbance of it. Now I know Brahman. You know Brahman as a word meaning only, not experience. So people have, yes, Tattvamasi, I understand what is Tvam and what is Tat and all that, and I can give talks also on terms of what is involved. But have you experienced that? So what is the experience versus what is knowledge here? That has to be clear here, and that's what here is emphasis is knowing the word. It has not much effect. It is important. At the same time, you should know when you chant it. If you know the meaning of it, then it makes sense. So initially, the children are taught by Bhagavad Gita and all that as a by heart. That means completely they can repeat, so that they may not need to know the meaning at that age, but as they grow old, then this chanting that they learn will become meaningful when they start knowing the knowledge of the meaning of the slokas also. Then it rings in, and that what happens. And of course, the learning chanting is important at an early age, first stage, and once you learn, then you start learning of the meaning of it. So this being emphasized in the next sloka. Arte vyakaranat buddhe, arte vyakaranat buddhe, sakshatkaro vasishyate, sakshatkaro vasishyate, syat kutar tattva dhiryavat, syat kutar tattva dhiryavat, Tavad gurum upasvabhoh, Tavad gurum upasvabhoh. Together. Arthe Vyakaranat Buddhi Sakshatkaro Vasishyate Syat Kutar Tattvadhiryavat Tavad Gurum Upasvabhuho. So Vyakaranat, by the strength of grammar knowledge, Arthe Bodhi, the meaning of the words is known. Yes, I understand what is Brahman. Brahman means infinite. I understand the meaning of Tattvamasi. Tat means that which is everything else, and Tvam means that I am, and I am Brahman. I understood, and I took the word by meaning also, using the Vyakarana. What's the meaning of the Vedanta also I learned. So that's what people learn in the classes, the meaning of the Vedanta, and once you understood. But Sakshatkaram avasishyate. What is not done is still remains is essentially the Sakshatkaram, direct experience of that. Is an experience of what? Experience that Aham Brahmasmi. It is not that I am going to new experience within no of triad. It is abidance in the knowledge that I am Brahman. So experience here is not say I am experiencing Brahman, I am experiencing the consciousness, objectless awareness. That's not exactly what that implied here. Experience here is in terms of Vijnanam. Vijnanam means it is knowledge that is confirmed that I am indeed. That is called what J. Krishnamurti says is not an understanding as a thought. It has to be understanding as a fact, and the factual understanding has to take place, and that is called Sakshatkaram avasishyate. Syat kutartatva dhiratva tavat gurum upasvabhoho. So yavat and tavat. So as long as or until then, Krutartatva realization of Brahman Syat is attained. Tavat, till then, Bhoho Guroho Upasva. My dear, serve the teacher until I have recognized that I am Brahman, until that realization has taken place. Please serve the teacher. What is service to the teacher has to do with this? Serving a teacher is not washing his hands or washing his legs and putting his, that's not service. That's only external service. Real service to the teacher here is contemplate on the teaching received by the teacher, from the teacher. So therefore, it is serving the teacher. So until then means until then, you keep studying what the teacher told and keep meditating on the teaching, and that's how the teaching serving is. So that's called Acharya Runam. Acharya Runam means even if you learn, you have to serve the teacher. How do you serve the teacher? Even after knowing it and learning completely, that is by passing on the knowledge to those who are in need. That is essentially an obligation to the teacher. So it is a serving the teacher. So service to the teacher has to be understood. Other service, you put the car massage and this and all that, those are temporarily external, and that's at the grossest level. That need to be done. What kind of he should be taken care of, and proper food and all that, so that mind doesn't have to dwell on it, so that he has time to spare for the teaching and taking care of his ashram, taking care of management. All those things are the essential ingredients to support the teacher, and that's a part of service to the teacher, but that's not the complete, that's only a fundamental one, basic one. What is real service is propagating the knowledge gained from the teacher, first by meditating on it and ascertaining the understood as a fact, then propagate that knowledge to the others who come to you for the seeking that knowledge. So the teacher gives you, it is not just a simple understanding, I am now understood that I am Brahmasmi, or I understand that Brahmananda is the supreme and I am experiencing that, now I understood, I have experienced. It is there, the experience is there, no knowledge is there. You have a knowledge without experience, both are a problem. In the deep sleep state, you are experiencing, but there is no knowledge of that experience, because even though I know that I am experiencing, and in the morning I say I slept very well, I was happy, but I have no knowledge of what exactly that means. For that I need a mind again. If I have mind, then I cannot sleep. So you have a problem there. So while awake, I should understand that the Aham Brahmasmi with the thoughts. Without the thoughts, it makes no difference, because from the point of that witnessing consciousness, I am perfectly Ananda only. That understanding has to sink in the mind, because the experience of Brahmananda is there in the deep sleep state, but there is no knowledge of that. But when I have a knowledge of when the knowledge, to gain the knowledge, I need a mind. But if I have a mind, I won't be able to sleep that. So how do I experience or know that this is Brahmananda even when the mind is awake? That's what has to be learned. Therefore, we are going to the details of what exactly Vedanta says and how Vishayananda and our Vasanananda comes into picture. That's also being discussed in this chapter. So here he is closing this topic here in 85. Asta me tadyatra yatra, asta me tadyatra yatra, sukham syat vishayairvina, sukham syat vishayairvina, tatta sarvatra vedyatam, tatta sarvatra vedyatam, brahmanandasya vasanam, brahmanandasya vasanam, vagara, asta me tadyatra yatra, sukham syat vishayairvina, tatra sarvatra vidyetam, brahmanandasya vasanam. So etad astam. So let this topic be, we will set aside, because in essence yatra yatra, so wherever, whenever vishaya vina, without any objective oriented happiness comes, without object, that means as in the deep sleep state, without depending on the object, and without depending on without objects may happiness come or not. We'll see here. Without depending on the objects for getting happiness. So without objects, sukham syat, if happiness is there, tatra sarvatra, in all these cases, in all these cases, brahmanandasya, the bliss of Brahman, etam vasanam, is these impressions vidya exist. So whenever, wherever I am experiencing the happiness without having any object oriented, that is the experience of Brahman alone. And that's what essentially is not object oriented happiness, where I am happy because is not there. That is the Brahmananda, and that has to be recognized, and that's what the teacher summarizes the topic and goes into the next topic, and next topic is related to Vishayananda. How do I get the Ananda when I am having a desire fulfilled Ananda? That is takes up from now on. So that completes the Brahmananda in the deep sleep state. Now we are coming into the Vishayananda, that means the waking and dream states experiences, and when I say I am happy, what exactly that means? That we will take up in the next talk. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.